What's up, YouTube? Tim here. Going to make another video about leathercraft, and today I just want to talk about a couple things. And again, these are my opinions, and one of them is about edge beveling and just getting proficient at that, and the other is kind of the leather goods market. Now, they kind of go hand in hand because I feel that being good at things like edge beveling, dyeing, finish work is a sign of whether or not you're ready to start selling your leather goods. I've only been doing leather working now for about 2 years, and I'm still a little self-conscious about the work I put out there. I've gotten good reviews, but the difference between a customer and another craftsman and how they feel about your work are two different things. People who don't know much about leather crafting can look at something and think that it's and mostly things that I've seen out there for sale are of good quality as far as materials go, but as far as craftsmanship, there are a couple things that people could work on, particularly like when it comes to bushcraft. I see a lot of people selling things with, very amateur-looking stitching, hand stitching, and even the tool work. And this is my opinion. I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm just saying that I feel that if you're gonna slap a price tag on there and have a customer pay, their for something with their hard-earned money. It should be worth, the juice should be worth the squeeze. Let's start off with that was my little rant on as far as where you should be for what position you should be in when you start selling your goods. But let's get into the edge beveling. That's basically why I started this video. Not basically, it is. Let's see. So I have an example here of a beveled edge, and hopefully the camera's picking that up. One that looks good, and one that doesn't look so good. Hopefully you can see how one is very consistent and one is choppy. Now, and this is my opinion again, you're probably going to get sick of me saying that over and over again, but a lot of people want the finished product, so they rush through things, and it's easy to, get caught up in that. I've done that so many times where I'm like, oh yeah, I just want to get this sheath done, I want to get this belt done, I want to get this, wall hanger piece done, and I end up making mistakes. One thing you should keep in the back of your mind is go slow, set your project aside and come back to it later. If you rush through something and you screw up, it could be, hours wasted, it could be material wasted, and, it's just not worth it. So kind of have that going on in the back of your mind a lot. Tell yourself that you need to be patient. And even with simple things like edge beveling, if you go and look at that, you could see how this looks so choppy and it looks very unappealing. This one is very consistent and has a nice rich shadow, and it is difficult for me to even get the choppiness because I'm so used to edge beveling in a very consistent way. There's like a rhythm to it. There's this guy who's awesome. His name's Christian something, I forget. He's got a really, really awesome story. There's a documentary about him on YouTube where he talks about moving out to the country and just falling in love with leathercraft and everything. I forget his name. He does a lot of like furniture and stuff. Just awesome craftsman. And I kind of took what he does with his edge beveling and what I had done in the past, and kind of incorporated them both. He's a drummer, so he kind of gives the example of setting your edge beveler, and well, you can watch his documentary and you can see how he does. I'm not obviously doing examples. I'm just showing you the difference between what a good edge looks like and a not so good, and it does take time. As you can see on this piece, this panel that I'm working on for the clutch that I showed in my last video. Again, if the camera's going to pick that up, the edge beveling on there is starting to look pretty good. Now what I usually do is, after I make my initial swivel knife cuts, I'll go back in with the spoon. I'll open up the cuts a little bit so I can get my edge beveler in there, and I'll go one pass through with fairly lightly. Let it case for a day or two, go back and do some backgrounding work, and then go back in again and make a darker edge. It's getting to where I want it. Now, I wish I had some examples of my early work that were looking very choppy and unappealing. Usually when I have something like that, I kind of, use, I'll throw it to the side and then use it for, other things, maybe to make a welt or something. So I don't have a lot of those examples laying around. But anyways, I just wanted to, share my thoughts on, being consistent with your edge beveling, because I think it makes a huge, huge difference. It's, like for me, it's almost like coloring in the lines. If you want to look at like a, look at it as an example, you take your crayons or colored pencils and you color outside the lines. It can, it just doesn't look as clean and nice. So, get your edge beveling to where you want it, and always practice. That goes for your all types of tooling. Your carving, your spooning, your background work, all that type of stuff. The more and more you do it, the better it looks. I'm starting to get happy with the way my things look. They're not there 100%, but they're starting to get there. I feel like this one is flowing a lot better than things I've done in the past, and hopefully when the finished project is done, people will like it. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on that, and yeah, this has been Tim. Embrace your creativity.